In my last 12-volt RV air conditioner comparison, the Countrymod came out on top. It beat the OutEquipPro 12-volt, the Modpioneer 12-volt, and the Xenjum 12-volt, making it the reigning champion in my 12-volt RV AC testing. But now, two new challengers have arrived. Today, the Countrymod 12-volt RV AC is back to defend its title against the iHooToo 12-volt and the Kryscape 12-volt. So the question is simple: can the Countrymod keep the crown, or will one of these new challengers take it away? And to find out, I'm not just going by advertised BTU numbers. I'm going to calculate the real-world cooling performance and score all three using the same 100-point system I've used in my other RV AC tests. So running an air conditioner from batteries is one of the biggest challenges in RV and van life. A microwave, coffee maker, or induction cooktop may use a lot of power, but they usually only run for a few minutes. An air conditioner can run for hours. So when you're looking at a battery-powered RVAC, the real question is not just, does it blow cold air? The real question is, how much cooling does it produce for the amount of battery power it uses? That is why I'm testing these three 12-volt rooftop RV air conditioners side by side. The Countrymod is the reigning champion. The iHooToo and the Kryscape are the challengers, and by the end of this video, we'll find out if the Countrymod is still on top. For each AC, I measured airflow, delta T, amps, and watts. Airflow tells us how much air the unit is moving. Delta T tells us how much the unit cooled that air. And amps and watts tell us how much power it pulled from the battery. From there, I calculated three comparison numbers: sensible cooling, which is BTUH, efficiency, known as EER, and value, which is the cost per BTUH. Those numbers help show how each unit actually performed in this test, not just what the product listing claims. I conducted two tests, and both of these tests were done outside. The first test was done at 71% relative humidity. The second test was done at a lower relative humidity of about 60%. Now, these numbers matter because humidity affects air conditioner performance. When the air is humid, the air conditioner must spend part of its energy removing moisture from the air. That can reduce the calculated sensible cooling number because some of the cooling work is going into dehumidification instead of only lowering the air temperature. For the final comparison chart, I'm using the average of both tests. That way, the final results are not based on just one run or one specific humidity condition. For this comparison, each AC was powered from the same battery setup. I used a Renogy Pro S1 12.8 volt 240 amp hour semi-solid state lithium battery. That gives this test a consistent power source for all three air conditioners. To make this comparison as fair as possible, all three air conditioners were tested outside using the same process, the same equipment, and the same environmental conditions for each test run. Power draw was measured with a Victron Smart Shunt, which tracked amps and watts during the test. Airflow was measured with the same airflow meter, and inlet and outlet temperatures were measured with the same temperature probes. I also used the same custom-made air duct on each AC unit. That duct is important because airflow readings can change depending on the vent shape, outlet opening, or how the air is directed. By using the same duct on all three units, I'm trying to eliminate as much airflow variability as possible. For the final ranking, I'm using the same 100-point scoring system I've used in other RV AC tests. The score is based on 5 categories. So there's features worth 15 points. This includes convenience features like swing vents, LED lights, remote control, app control, timer, voice control, and operating modes. Then there's installation and footprint worth 15 points. So that includes size, weight, rooftop footprint, and how practical the unit is to handle and install. Since these are rooftop AC units, weight matters because someone still has to lift the unit onto the roof and position it. So then there's calculated BTUH worth 35 points, and this is average calculated sensible cooling output from the two tests. Then there's calculated EER worth 25 points, average calculated efficiency from the two tests. Then there's cost per calculated BTUH worth 10 points. This is how much cooling performance each unit delivered for the money. This keeps the final score balanced between features, install practicality, cooling output, efficiency, and value. So first up is the reigning champion, the Countrymod 12V RV air conditioner. This unit won my last 12V RV AC comparison after beating out the OutEquipPro, Modpioneer, and Xenjum. The Countrymod is advertised as a 10,000 BTU 12V rooftop RV air conditioner. The price I'm using for this comparison is $939. The listed power range is 300 to 900 watts with a current range of 20 to 66 amps at 12 volts. The rooftop unit measures about 31.7 inches long, 31.7 inches wide, and 7.1 inches tall. The listed weight is 54 pounds. If it's a standard 14 by 14 inch roof opening and is a ductless rooftop unit. Feature-wise, the Countrymod has remote control, touch control, app control, and swing vents. Like the other units in this test, it has turbo, cool, sleep eco, and fan modes. It also uses an inverter-style compressor, which should help it adjust output based on cooling demand instead of only running full blast or shutting off. For features, I'm giving the Countrymod 14 out of 15 points. It has a strong feature set, but it does not have the voice control feature that the iHooToo advertises. For installation and footprint, I'm giving the Countrymod 14 out of 15 points. It is larger than the other two units, but at 54 pounds, it's still lighter than the iHooToo. This is the unit the challengers have to beat. The first challenger is the iHooToo 12V RV air conditioner. This unit is advertised as a 10,000 BTU rooftop RV AC. The price I'm using is $749.99 after coupon. It has a listed power range of 180 to 820 watts, runs on 12 volts, and has under voltage protection listed between 9 and 11.5 volts. One thing that stood out in the testing is that the iHooToo averaged 828.67 watts, which is slightly higher than the top end of its listed 820 watt range. The iHooToo also includes a 6 AWG power cord, which is good to see because 12-volt air conditioners can pull a lot of current. The rooftop unit measures about 30 inches long, 29 inches wide, and 6 inches tall. The listed weight is about 64 pounds. Now feature-wise, the iHooToo has turbo, cool, sleep eco, and fan modes, just like the other units. But the iHooToo is the first RV AC I've tested that also advertises voice control. For features, I'm giving the HooToo 15 out of 15 points. It has the standard modes, app control, and the unique voice control feature. For installation and footprint, I'm giving the iHooToo 13 out of 15 points. It has a smaller rooftop footprint than the Countrymod, but it is the heaviest unit in this comparison at 64 pounds. The second challenger is the Kryscape 12V RV air conditioner. Now this unit is also advertised as a 10,000 BTU RV AC. The price I'm using is $899 with a $50 checkout coupon listed. Kryscape also advertises quiet operation with sleep mode around 40 decibels and claims average nighttime power use around 250 watts. During my testing, the Kryscape was also the quietest of the three units, and I also noticed the inverter took longer to ramp up compared to the others. Now, feature-wise, the Kryscape has turbo, cool, sleep, eco, and fan modes, automatic swing airflow, LED lights, and a variable speed fan system. The Kryscape measures about 28.3 inches long, 28.3 inches wide by 6.3 inches tall, and the listed weight is 48 pounds. For installation and footprint, I'm giving the Kryscape 15 out of 15 points. It's the smallest and lightest unit in the test, which gives it the clear advantage for install and rooftop handling. For features, I'm giving the Kryscape 14 out of 15 points. It has automatic swing airflow and LED lights, but it does not have the voice control feature that the iHooToo advertises. For the final comparison, I've averaged both test runs. So here are the average results. Looking at the data, you can see that the iHooToo had the highest airflow, best features, and the lowest cost per BTUH. Now, the Countrymod had the highest average delta T, the highest calculated BTUH, the highest calculated EER, and the lowest power draw. The Kryscape was the smallest, lightest, and quietest unit, but it trailed the other two in calculated cooling output and efficiency. One of the biggest lessons from this test is that CFM alone does not determine cooling output. The iHooToo had the highest average airflow. It moved 396.4 CFMs. Now that is a strong number, but it did not have the highest calculated BTUH. Why? Because BTUH is a function of both airflow and temperature drop. The iHooToo moved the most air, but its average delta T was only 18 degrees Fahrenheit. The Countrymod moved less air at 343.92 CFMs, but it had a much stronger average delta T of 24.3 degrees Fahrenheit. That stronger temperature drop more than made up for the lower airflow. So even though the iHooToo moved more air, the Countrymod achieved a higher BTUH. And here are the results. In third place is the Kryscape with 72.9 points. The Kryscape has some advantages. It is the smallest, lightest, and quietest unit in the test, and it has LED lights and automatic swing airflow. Now, I also noticed that the inverter took longer to ramp up. But in my testing, it had the lowest average airflow, the lowest calculated BTUH, and the lowest calculated EER. In second place is the iHooToo with 84.8 points. The iHooToo was a serious challenger. It had the highest airflow, the best feature score, the best cost per BTUH, and it was the first RV AC I've tested that advertises voice control. But it also had the lowest average delta T, the highest power draw, and it averaged slightly higher wattage than even its finished top-end range. And in first place is the Countrymod with 97.4 points. The Countrymod came into this test as the reigning champion, and it defended its title. It did not have the highest airflow, the lowest price, or the smallest footprint, but it had the highest calculated BTUH, the highest calculated EER, and the lowest power draw. That is the combination that matters most for battery-powered RV air conditioning. So after averaging both tests and applying my 100-point scoring system, the Countrymod 12V RVAC keeps the crown. Check the description for links to all 3 air conditioners along with any discount codes I have available. So if this video helped you, hit the like button, subscribe, and follow along because I'll be testing more RV air conditioners, batteries, solar, and off-grid power systems. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, stay cool.